Hello my chess friends, this is your 6-minute recap of an incredible chess encounter between Fide Gujrathi and Hans Niemann from round 6 of Fide Grade Swiss 2023 tournament in the Isle of Man. Fide, with the white pieces, begins the game with e4, e5 from Hans Niemann, and we go straight into an extremely mainline Ruy Lopez game. And we don't see any deviation from absolute mainline territory until we get to this point here where Fide goes for a4, which is a little bit unusual. A little more common here would be c3 or h3, a move I like to play, but this move does threaten to capture, and then if black recaptures, he's going to lose his rook. So Niemann defends his rook with bishop b7. We got d3, d6, bishop d2, another kind of a strange move. Why are you putting your bishop on d2 this early in the game? Well, I think he's just trying to get Niemann out of book. I can't see any other reason for it. We got queen d7 from Niemann though. h3, another kind of an odd move. He's given the king an escape square. There won't be any back rank mate threats. This move's always rather useful in this opening, but why he played it now, I don't know. Knight d8 from Niemann. He wants to put the knight on e6. Fide takes on b5, we got a takes b5, then we trade off a pair of rooks, and then knight c3, eyeing that b5 pawn, which is only defended by the queen. Knight to e6, though, eyeing some nice dark squares, so Fide takes that knight out. The recapture is made on e6 with a pawn. The queen, of course, can't because she's still defending b5, and after b4, that pawn is now fixed on b5, making it a bit of a permanent target. Bishop to b7 now, preparing rook to a8. We got queen to a1, going to b2 after the next move, rook to a8, queen to b2 now, and Niemann plays h6, giving his own king a little square there. Rook to a1 from Fide, contesting the rook on the open file. Rook takes a1, queen takes a1, and then the king decides to go to f7 for whatever reason, adding a little more protection to e6, I guess. Queen to a7 though from Fide, attacking the bishop. The bishop goes to c6. Okay, now we got queen to a5, hitting this pawn with two pieces, eyeing c7. Now we see a king move. He's just going to wait and see what Vide's going to do. Bishop to e3, putting the bishop on a more active diagonal. We got king to h7. Okay, another sort of a waiting move. Now bishop to a7, looking to come in here and possibly target c7. Bishop to d8 kind of anticipates that. Now we got queen to a6. Now the bishop goes back to e7. He says, oh, you're not attacking c7 at all. I might as well move the bishop back there. There's a lot of shuffling here. Each player doesn't really know exactly what to do. And we start seeing some kind of strange king moves coming up here pretty quick. Knight to b1 is a good move, though. Knight d2, knight b3. Imagine the knight gets to a5. That could be a very nice square. Where would that bishop go? Knight to h5 played, looking to hop into f4. g3 puts a stop to that. Now bishop to d8. Okay, whatever. Probably for lack of a better move. Knight b to d2 now from Fide. Okay, looking to come to a5. And we have queen to e8. Clearing the way for the bishop to possibly drop back to d7. Okay, we got king to f1, which is the beginning of kind of a strange king walk. Knight to f6, okay, kind of getting back in the game. It wasn't doing much on h5 anymore. King to e1. Would have been better to just play knight b3, which is what eventually gets played. King to h7, okay, why, I don't know. King to e2, and now queen to d7. We're just playing a waiting game. King to d1. And now finally, something concrete. Knight to g8. After knight to b3, knight to e7 will defend the bishop. So now after Vide's next move, knight to a5, that bishop doesn't have to move. It's defended by two pieces. Okay, queen to e8 though. Looking to come out this direction possibly. Maybe you can pin this knight to the king. King to e2, defends the knight. d5. That's a good move, threatening to take and win a pawn on e4. Knight d2 defends. Now we got our queen to h5 check. Very active. Also hitting this pawn here, but after king to e1, you have to do something about your bishop, which is attacked by two pieces, only defended by one. So the bishop goes to d7. Maybe queen takes h3 is possible next, but now we got queen to b7. Hitting c7 with two pieces, okay. And now for the big blunder of the game, one of them anyway, Niemann plays d takes e4. Why is this a blunder? It's not all that clear. After d takes e4, what did that really change in the position? You will see shortly. Just know that now d3 is clear because the pawn captured. You will see why that's important in a minute. Queen takes h3 is played. Bishop takes c7. Okay, each side has grabbed a pawn. Now we get a queen check. We got king e2. Not having a pawn right here comes into play. Black is completely lost here, but wouldn't be if the following sequence of moves worked, which it doesn't. I don't even know if Niemann saw this, but bishop e8. You give up the bishop on d8, but now bishop h5 check. It's blocked with f3, and now queen g2 check. And if this square wasn't available, black here would have a perpetual check. But in this position, because that pawn capture was made about 5 moves ago, king d3 is now possible. The white king escapes, and black has a losing position here. So that's the significance. But let's get back to the game. Instead of bishop e8, queen h5 check is played. The knight's put in the way. Now queen to e8, defending the bishop. But now we got knight takes e5, grabbing a pawn. It's threatening to take the bishop on d8, and then the queen will win the bishop on d7. So the bishop moves to c8, attacking the queen, defended by the knight here. Queen to a7, and now we got knight g6, challenging the knight. Now, the winning move for white here is just to move the knight back to d3. But Fide messes up here. He takes on d8. This would allow Niemann to get away with the draw. And Niemann starts off correctly. He takes the knight on e5. That knight is just too powerful on e5. That's why this variation is not working for white. The best move is bishop to f6. Fide plays queen to c7. And this allows Niemann a beautiful defense, which he found the first couple moves of. He played queen to h5 check. This was correct. King goes to d2. But here, he misses the best move. The best move would have been bishop d7. f4, attacking the only defender of that piece. But there is a check. Knight to f3 check. King goes to c3. And here, check this out. This is what the computer found. Queen to h1. You can give up the bishop because after queen takes d7, you got queen a1 check. And guess what? Queen d1 check is going to win the queen. A crazy little computer defense for black, which Niemann didn't find. Instead, back here, instead of the necessary move bishop to d7, he played knight to f3 check, a losing move. After king to c3, queen to h1. Leaving the bishop hanging, white still can't take that bishop because that would actually run into a forced mate, which goes like this. Queen to a1 check, and I'm just going to go through these moves really fast. You can see how it's going to play out. There you go. There's your forced mate. But Fide did not play that. He just played king b2, just stopping queen a8. What are you going to do about white's threats? There's two threats. White still has the threat of taking the bishop, and there's also the threat of bishop to f6, attacking that pawn, which is pinned to the king. And how are you going to defend? Niemann decides to play knight to d2. At least he can come in here and start harassing the white king with some checks. Here we go. Fide plays bishop to f6. We're threatening mate in 1. You got queen b1 check. The king goes to a3, throws in another check, but now bishop to b2. Threatening checkmate, threatening to win the bishop, threatening the queen. Hans Niemann, you are done. And at this point, he resigns. So I hope you enjoyed that incredibly crazy game between Fide Gujrathi and Hans Niemann. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel for more 5-minute recaps coming your way soon. See you on the next one.